Now, thank you very much once again, Linda Ofori Kwafo of the GII. The 2022 Corruption Perception Index, you title it, Ghana Fails to Make Progress. And you say that Ghana, for the third consecutive year, scores 43 out of a possible clean score of 100 and ranks 72 out of 180 countries and territories included in the 2022 Corruption Perception Index, released today, that's 31st of January 2023, by the Transparency International. This score, and you put that in bold highlights, reflects a lack of progress in the country's fight against corruption. A lack of progress. How do you stagnate in fighting corruption? It's difficult for me to appreciate.
Okay, thank you very much, Samson. And it is possible. And so then if the CPI is scoring countries on a clean score of 0 to 100, and for 3 years running, Ghana keeps on getting only 43, and out of 100, and it's happened in 2020, 21, and 2022. Then obviously, what other description can we give this kind of performance? So in CPI, we are expecting to go up. We have been 47 before, so we're expecting that gradually, by all the things that we put in place, we should be able to get in, making some progress. But from what we had and the sources available that were used for Ghana, you could see that there were instances where Ghana made some progress in certain areas, and then those were cancelled. The progress was cancelled by another poor performance in other areas. Okay. And I always say that when it comes to the CPI, they are not speaking to angels. They are speaking to people who do business, experts, think tanks in the country. So they are actually trying to see how the country's public sector is actually allowing corruption to go on unconcerned, or what measures have been put in place to ensure that corruption is being minimized. Samson, the questions they ask in all these data sources, so the CPI is a composite index, it has about 13 data sources, and some of the questions they are asking borders on bribery, diversion of public funds, use of public office for private gain, nepotism in the civil service. And they go on further to ask questions like, what is government ability to enforce integrity mechanisms, effective prosecution of corrupt cases, and all those things. So then we might score on, for instance, the fact that we now have an OSP who is showing commitment and readiness and ability to deal with certain kinds of issues. But when it comes to, are we still having so much corruption happening? Then your auditor...
You are talking about the OSP that has been working for 17 months without pay?
Yes, the same OSP that's
okay.
I know what you are trying to understand. Okay, so talk about the OSP making some efforts and actually getting some results with the minimal resources at their disposal. And talk about, so if you look at the Auditor General's report, for instance, and the recent one, the COVID-19, government expenditure on COVID-19, also showing how much we still have corruption as a problem. We said COVID was a problem. COVID was the reason why we are where we are. But when we had resources to manage COVID, we even ended up also mismanaging that particular funding. So if they ask the business expert about use of public resources, they will answer, no, we are not doing well. When they ask about is the OSP being effective with the little resources, yes, the OSP is doing well, but then it will come and cancel each other, and we'll then still be staying where we are. That's how come we type Ghana make progress.
The people that they speak to in this report, do they include the big businesses that are trying to evade tax, trying to cheat the government, and because of that the GRA has been on them? Do they include the guys at the computer placement center who are taking 20,000 cedis for parents who are desperate and needing their children to be placed in grade A schools? Those parents are equally corrupt, and they too are corrupt. Do they include these people?
So then, we talk about I said the CPI is a composite index. So the various surveys that have been used at the 13 surveys might have spoken to some of these people. But as I said, if even there's a business expert who doesn't have a child going to SHS here in Ghana, so might not know, they read, they hear, they experience when they do business with the Ghana Revenue Authority, when they go to all these tax institutions, they encounter corruption. So that they speak about what they actually, their experience in the country. So it is possible some of them might not have heard about the fraud in the school placements and all that, but some of them might have read about it, but I think they'll be talking more about their personal experiences in doing business with the country's public sector. And where they actually encounter corruption, they will talk about it. So
how bad is our current standing that we have held on, for 3 years?
It is, for me, it is very bad. And especially when we are at the moments where we are talking about lack of resources. So I was just listening to the DDEP conversation that you had before this. And the fact that we need to even manage the little resources that we have. And in account, we say something like, so you need to resource the SP, which the SP's own institutional framework has been designed to be able to even help us make money, if I can put it that bluntly. So help us to save money, help us to, so that when you look at I think the section 66 or so of the OSP Act, that actually says that when they recover stolen wealth, they are supposed to give a percentage to the consolidated fund. The SP's office takes about 30% or so. Attorney General's office takes about 10%. The 10% will go into whistleblowing persons or institutions that help in the recovery. So then if you have such an institution, you need to resources to be able to really protect the IMF money that we are going for. Because even the COVID funds, if you have not resourced the SP office and you have actually put in place measures to prevent the corruption from happening, by now we should have so much that we can actually work with. But then, so for me, I think that if we are not able to put some measures in place, the situation will get...
So we got to a poor ranking. And since then, we have done practically nothing to improve the fight against corruption by a government that won power on the back of a campaign against corruption. The CDD's Afrobarometer 2019 found that corruption was being normalized in Ghana, It established that a majority of citizens found corruption to be somewhat or a lot worse. You had 6 in 10 people, that's 61% of Ghanaians, who were afraid to report corruption for fear of suffering reprisals or some retaliation of the sort. So this is where we are still. Corruption has been normalized, 3 years.
Yeah, so corruption has been normalized, Samson. But as I said, so the effort that is being put in by institutions like the SP is not reflecting on the CPI because corruption is still allowed to continue. And it's so normalized, so you brought in this thing about the school placement system. And I'm happy with the work that the Fourth Estate did, because this is something that we all know about. This is something that at the time that they were moving from the old system, where we all belong to, where our parents go to the schools and beg them to give us Achimota or whatever. I went to secondary college. I didn't get anybody to pay for me to go to Achimota. But that doesn't mean I was not good. My school is great, and that's made me great. So I like secondary college. Whatever it is. So we're hoping that that system was transforming to a more appropriate and more manageable, that will be able to eradicate the kind of corruption that we saw in those days, where the head teachers meet around the table and they keep on pushing the papers around and take money and do their own things. So a more dangerous state, where even it's only the rich that can actually have access to certain schools. And the painful bit about this school placement thing is when you qualify, when your child has done so well, and the name will have to be removed for somebody, a rich parent somewhere, whose child has performed poorly to get the place because their parents can pay. What system are we talking about?
So whilst we are talking about the grand corruption, what you're talking about now is the petty everyday corruption that is people are also normalizing, isn't it? If the parent is ready to go pay and there is someone with the Ministry of Education or Education Service who are ready to sell the grade.
It is. You see, at TI and at GI, we keep on saying that corruption's negative impacts or negative effects is quite dire, but then it affects the poor more than even the rich. So what is happening is that somebody somewhere in the village somewhere whose child has performed well, and all that person has is the child's intellect. The person has been given, by God's grace, as a child who's very good academically, but cannot get the schools they want because they're rich parents somewhere. And for me, the normalization of corruption, the same Afrobarometer that you made reference to, actually said that by that, people are losing trust in our institutions and in our government. And if you look at the CPI's theme for this year, we're talking about corruption, conflict, and security. And gradually, as people actually lose trust for the state, you know where we are heading towards. So those things are intertwined. And if you don't take steps to address the problem of corruption, I'm not going to be a prophetess of doom. But very soon, the things about conflict and security will be something that we cannot manage in this country. And for me, people are losing trust in the government that actually came on the back of anti-corruption. For us, the mismanagement, so what we are discussing, I actually was reading Article 36, I think the Directive Principle of State Policies 1, and what role government responsibility the Constitution gave to the states to manage our resources to the extent that the people will be happy and all that. Today, the people are, because of, it is pure mismanagement, it is pure corruption, and it is misappropriation. So some of them want to give it nice names in the Auditor General's report. The thing is corruption, and mismanagement has gotten us here. So let us resource the institutions with the power of preventing the corruption from happening, with the power of recovering stolen wealth, and with the power to investigate and sanction corruption to do more. And any day, anytime, I would advocate for the OSC.
Okay. Please hold on there.